Hello and welcome to Views on News. I am Jawad Tehami. Planet Earth has witnessed many miracles happening over the passage of millennia owing to the ingenuity of human brain. The flight of imagination of human brain has led to many greater inventions and discoveries. Now, when we specifically talk about from fire to the internet, novel ideas of human brain have transformed the societies and affected also the ecosystems at multiple levels. Specifically talking about the human brain, it has got the capability of tapping into the potential of opportunities and the resources which are laid before it, and also it has got the capability to convert the difficulties and challenges into opportunities. Not only this, the human brain has also got the capability of addressing and mitigating the negative and the adverse impacts of any sort of invention. When we specifically talk about the newest, the latest invention that is known as artificial intelligence, there is a concern that has been raised by a group of experts regarding its risk of extinction to humanity. It might pose a risk of extinction to humanity. That has been said by a group of experts in their statement that has been released by the Center for AI Safety. Now, amazingly, the signatories to this particular statement include Sam Altman. He is the Chief Executive Officer of OpenAI. When we talk about artificial intelligence, the latest manifestation of which we have seen back in November 2022, and Mr. Sam Altman has talked about more regulation of artificial intelligence. And now the signatories also include Jaffri. Hannan. He is known as the godfather of artificial intelligence. He had been associated with Google, later on resigned to talk openly about the dangers associated with artificial intelligence. Now, this particular statement that has been released by the Center for AI Safety, it came after there was an open letter which was signed by key notable figures including Elon Musk back in March that called for a 6-month pause on development of AI more advanced than OpenAI's GPT-4. Now, what the letter actually said, let me quote: "Powerful AI systems should be developed only once we are confident that their effects will be positive and their risks will be manageable," unquote. Now, is this particular invention a threat to humanity or provides an opportunity for greater development and progress and prosperity? And has this particular invention got the capability of attaining consciousness and setting its own goals? And if that could be the case, how the humans could be dealing and addressing and mitigating this particular risk and threat? For that, we are honored to have been joined in the studio by Professor Dr. Yasar Ayaz. He is Chairman in National Center of Artificial Intelligence at NUST in Islamabad. Dr. Ayaz, thank you very much for joining in at Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. On Skype at the same time from China, we are being joined by Mr. Ammar Jaffri. He is founder of Digital Pakistan. He is also the keynote speaker in the first Big Data International Conference in China. Formerly has served as additional DG FIA. Mr. Jaffri, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. At the same time, we are also being joined on Skype by Dr. Adil Sultan. He is Dean and Head of the Department of Aerospace and Strategic Studies at University. He is also doing his research on artificial intelligence from social sciences perspective. Dr. Sultan, thank you very much for your time, also for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. Let me begin the discussion with you, Dr. Ayaz. What's your understanding now? This particular statement, the latest statement that has come from key notable figures who are associated with this particular industry, if I might call it so, Mr. Sam Altman and Jaffri Hannan. How serious is this particular threat?
I think that what they are talking about is not the entire field of artificial intelligence. First of all, there's a particular domain within the field of artificial intelligence which is called artificial general intelligence, where systems are perceived which actually would understand every aspect of our world as we know it today, every aspect of human life, every aspect of technology they would understand. And it is like, as we've seen it in many movies, etc., and this is why several people have been of the opinion that just like a lot of other technologies, like it is, for example, with nuclear arms or other sorts of weapons which are available, around in the world, maybe there's a need to develop some standards or some containment, maybe some agreements or something between the world community as to how, the applications of AI and who develops AI could be controlled.
Right. Mr. Jaffri, what's your understanding of this particular statement that has been released regarding the risks of this particular artificial intelligence posing a risk of extinction? Do you agree with that?
Thank you, Ammar. First, I would like to thank you for PTV for inviting me here. I think you can't stop time at technology. If you look back the history of all inventions, I think when we had the first railway engine on the road in New York, there was a panic, and had the flights, it was a panic. So I had the same situation, but this time the transformation towards technology is so fast that it has trespass the understanding of human beings. That's why we are having this problem. I think I don't agree with it because as we go further, a number of positive things will come forward and simultaneously number of negative things will come forward. Yes, technology is for the society. Society is not for the technology. I fully agree with you that we should be very, very conscious about it. I think with the collective wisdom, especially in countries like Pakistan, we can all discuss together. We can filter out the benefits of AI and we can control and mitigate the negative effect of AI. I agree with you. Thank you.
Mr. Jaffri, what I understand is that this particular technology itself is not a real danger to humanity. It's basically the use of it and those groups or the people who own it and the way they use it.
What's machine learning? It's on data. Like child sees something and he remembers it. His eyes, he has remembered it. So now machines are learning, very simple state. But now the important thing is the data. Right now, I'm in a conference of big data. I can see that zettabytes of data are now available. Now, the serious threat will start when the cross-border transfer of data will start. The advanced country will get benefit out of it and developing countries will be in a disadvantaged position. So now it's high time for countries like Pakistan that we should understand our own data massage. We should understand what the data mechanics into it. And I think there's an acute shortage of data analysts in Pakistan. AI is nothing but application of algorithms on and some strategies. We shouldn't forget that we started from Wikipedia. So Google took the advantage of Wikipedia. Now the Chat GPT is taking advantage of Google now. A number of other things will come in the way. I think we should keep our house in order. I think Pakistan is a country of 250 million people now as per the new census. So our data is very important for our national security, for our own strategies, and for using it for the purposes. And in the end, I would like to say that if we link this data analytics or what we call artificial intelligence with the development sector, and I think the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, have very clearly defined the development sector. Any technology which is for the benefit of the human beings, it never fails.
Let me proceed with the discussion. Dr. Sultan, what's your understanding of this particular statement? Now, it comes after an open letter that was signed by key notable figures of this particular field, including Elon Musk. When we specifically talk about Elon Musk, he's also directly associated with this particular artificial intelligence. Its uses, we have seen the Tesla is based on artificial intelligence, the self-driving cars. What's your understanding? Why such a concern is being raised by those people who are connected directly with this particular field?
I think concerns are real and dangers are real. Like all technologies, they have positive dividends and the negative dividends. But over here, the artificial intelligence is moving faster than the real life. So the danger is that the experts who have developed, they have also understood the implications that if it remains unregulated, the negative uses possibly would be more, which could affect our daily lives, which could affect every domain, like the military or whatever the domains that they are talking about. So the problem is, artificial intelligence as we see, although there is some people contest whether it is really artificial or not, because in the end, human mind was there behind this creation. But the way the technologies are evolving, it is moving towards autonomous decision making. So that's the real concern, that if you move towards that direction, and if the machines start to decide for you and starts to take decisions, probably that would complicate. And especially so in terms of weapons or the military applications of these autonomous weapon systems. We are already seeing that some of these weapons are being used in the different conflicts where the AI equipped drones, they are being used so they can pick and choose. The human dimension is missing. And there is a very vibrant and strong debate ongoing at Geneva. And interestingly, Pakistan has been at the forefront of this debate in regulating these technology or preventing the use of artificial intelligence in military weapon system. But in our daily lives also, as teachers or professors in universities, we are seeing these as an imminent danger in terms because the chat GPT is there. So the learning processes that we have learned, the way that we have learned, probably it is going to revolutionize that learning process also. So AI is going to affect every facet of our lives, the learning process, the military or the medicine, everything. We don't know as yet. The problem is nobody can predict where it is heading, and that's why the creators of this technology, they want to get grip on this, and they want the governments, especially in the United States, as you were also mentioning. The debate is that we need to regulate these technologies because the creators themselves are not sure whether it will have more negative impact or the positive impact. So they want governments to come in, and that's unique. Normally, the technology developer, they don't want regulations. But in this case, the dangers are such that they're asking the government to come and intervene and regulate and draw some rules for this.
Dr. Ayaz, there's been a study that was released by Microsoft which says that GPT-4, we specifically talk about it, has also shown sparks of artificial intelligence due to its core mental capabilities. What's your analysis of this particular statement? Does it depict that artificial intelligence has got the capability of attaining a consciousness?
I don't think so. For now, no. So ChatGPT-4, as we understand it right now, first of all, it's a physical manifestation or it's a physical implementation of something called the Turing test, which was invented in the 1945 by Alan Turing, right? That was like when we start studying AI, so it's one of the first types of AI which we look at. That, for example, if you're chatting with the computer system and the computer system is chatting back at you, can you tell while chatting with the system that the thing chatting with you on the other end is a human or a machine, right? So for that, the machine has to remember all the previous discussion that you've made with it. The information has to be logical, it has to be cogent, it has to be well informed because of a lot of other kind of information that is going around. So what ChatGPT-4 does, first of all, the ChatGPT-4 brain is until 2021 it has absorbed information from all over the internet, right? So until, for example, many of the humans will have information which happened just yesterday or which happened this morning. Like we know that today is a no tobacco day, but maybe ChatGPT-4 won't know it because its brain is, it has information until 2021. So it's just a, you could say, information crunching engine that has information, which is very widely spread. And no one human could absorb all that information in one place. So for instance, if for example you or I, we are sitting to get some information about various things happening in the world, so this is kind of a very advanced search engine which will present information to us in a very, you could say, aligned and a well arranged manner. And for it to be self-conscious, it has to be self-aware about its own self. It has to have feelings, it has to have a personality. And if such a thing is there, and if it is conscious that it has its own interest, and its own interest is different from the interest of the other, then you will perceive it as an agent. Right?
So there is another argument which goes against what you are laying forth over here, that it is basically, artificial intelligence is basically trained to imitate human linguistic behavior, which is produced by humans who have goals. So that pretty much shows that it can also develop its own goals.
It can, like,
while imitating human linguistic behavior, for instance.
Most of the applications of AI existing in the world right now, including ChatGPT, are basically domain specific. Like, for example, you talked about self-driving cars, right? So self-driving cars are good for driving. But if you ask a self-driving car something about cooking, it won't have an idea about that, right? Similarly, there are robots, for example, a robot called Molly. It's an expert chef which looks at chefs and learns how they're cooking stuff, and then it can cook that stuff for you. Like, all of us have been witnessing, recipes on various television channels. None of us have gotten to eat it most of the time, right? So for obvious reasons. And when you have an AI chef at home, maybe you'll get to eat that as well. So ChatGPT works in the domain of linguistics. There is a framework within within which ChatGPT works.
Right.
If you ask ChatGPT to go outside that framework and, for example, develop a personality of its own. So, like, I have a best paper award in London in 2018, where for example, the movement of fingers, for example, what does it indicate? When I'm talking to you, if I'm moving my hand, so what perceptions, for example, can you get about my feelings from just the hand movement? But ChatGPT-4 won't understand it, right? Unless
so what I understand from what you are saying is that every artificial intelligence system that is being used in a certain particular field has got its own different framework.
Yeah.
And
it's specific to that framework.
It can't go beyond that.
It can't go beyond that framework, and, like, we are yet to see any system which is completely void of any framework. And the sort of artificial general intelligence which people are talking about, which they think would take over the world, it doesn't exist in the world anyway.
How about it? For example, you just mentioned that there is a certain robot that is a good chef.
Molly. Yeah.
Okay. So we talk about ChatGPT. Also, it's another form.
Yeah.
Okay. There must be multiple forms of artificial intelligence which might be deployed in different fields. So there is a concern that has been raised by Goldman Sachs that it would take the industries by storm, whether it is related to art or human resources, and there would be a loss of 300 million jobs if artificial intelligence, no matter whether within a specified framework, is deployed in various fields.
Yeah, you're right in that. Artificial intelligence is going to displace jobs for sure, right? Just like, for example, invention of cars displaced jobs. All the people who used to keep horses, who used to make carts, they don't have those jobs anymore. But the invention of cars has increased the overall number of jobs, because now you have people who wash the cars, now you have people who paint the cars, now you have mechanics, and such an elaborate industry has emerged. So every time you have a technology upgrade, the number of jobs actually increases for humans, right? For example, AI needs to crunch data. For crunching data, you need sensors. So somebody will develop those sensors, somebody will deploy those sensors, somebody will maintain those sensors. Those sensors will just make our world more efficient.
So what about a robot who could do all those functions of making it and then deploying it and then monitoring it?
So we'll have many robots.
A certain robot who has got all the capabilities to perform.
Somebody has to make that robot too. And that will be a human again, right? So, and similarly, like at the back of it, there has to be, the chilling towers and this, data crunching platforms. You need to have, we've just seen Facebook was carrying out the cleaning of one of its data, repositories, which was actually submerged under the sea. So many new technological inventions, and who knows, in future maybe we'll be using the space. For example, we have internet which is being directly provided from space by Elon Musk's company. So who is stopping us from placing a data center in space? Maybe it will also solve some of the problems which could come from a lot of heat being generated from data centers. So I think that the invention of AI will unleash a whole wave of technology which will revolutionize space technology. It will revolutionize even our regular office work, our housework. It will make life easier for humans.
There's a very pertinent question which has been raised by Yuval Noah Harari in his book Homo Deus, A Brief History of Tomorrow. If it will unleash that very transformation, it will definitely provide ease to the human beings. So then what are humans going to do?
So humans, of course, when we are away from the conventional menial labor, right? So we'll take tasks which are more complex, mentally, right? So things which require more creativity and, superior inventions compared to that. So AI, some of the things, let me give you a couple of examples. For instance, just recently, there was also a new news which was talking about, an algorithm, I think from Stanford, which actually predicted the presence of breast cancer in a patient 4 years before the doctors could notice it in, like a mammogram or other scan, right? So just imagine the way we could control disease, the way it will improve human life.
Let me bring in Mr. Jaffri also into the discussion. Mr. Jaffri, what's your understanding? As far as I understand from Dr. Ayaz's understanding of this whole equation, what I understand is that he is of the view that the positives of artificial intelligence, if deployed strategically in every field, supersede from the negative consequences.
I fully agree with Dr. Saab. I will try to take away from his words. One is this data centers, some sort of trouble it will become for a lot of people. So now there's the era of green technologies. What are the green technologies? The traditional data centers are now being changed. Now, I have in Big Data Expo, I've seen that very big data centers are being constructed on green technology. Second, you use the word ease for human beings. I think all those technologies which will be brought forward by AI, if it is to provide value addition for the comfort of a human being, be it health, be education, be it some sort of decent work, be it climate change, anything, when it will be, like its sensors will bring ease for the human being, I'm sure it will become more comforts. And the negativity part will always be there. I will try to emphasize here about the use of AI by the criminals. Criminals are very fast learners. I spent 40 years of my life in this field, and I understand that criminals always learn at a faster pace. So my worry is that now criminals will learn very fast the AI technology, and using the human behaviors, that how do the human respond in such a situation, they may use it. But I agree with Dr. Saab that we should be positive, and I think we should be concerned about Pakistan. Pakistan, an amazing country. 60% of the population is less than 30 years of age. World is in demand of such a dynamic population. So universities, technology partners, governments, enablers, we should work together and leverage the power of AI for the betterment of people of Pakistan.
Of this particular replacement of human resource by robots and artificial intelligence when it comes to job seeking, isn't it a pertinent concern by Goldman Sachs? 300 million jobs, it's a mind-boggling figure, isn't it?
No, I personally believe that IR, Industrial Revolution 4.0, it has yet to come in Pakistan, right? So as Dr. Saab said, that new technologies never replace the human beings. They convert them into new skill sets. So it's high time that we should teach in our schools, our colleges about AI, IoT, Internet of Things, blockchain, Web 3.0, all these emerging technologies, so that when this mass population comes into universities, they're already trained on basic things. I think it's a judgment call for all of us teaching universities and organizations that we can leverage the power of our human resource and build a best human resource for export to other countries. So in return, we will have the foreign exchange, and in return, we will have the added value, human resource to our country, which is going to solve our problem in agriculture, especially in human resource development. Very painfully, let me share with you, the current index of human resource development is very poor in Pakistan. If you see the State Bank report, it says that only 10% of the human beings being trained by the universities are employable. Such a dangerous figure. The UN report on Southeast Asia has placed Pakistan on the lowest in terms of human resource development. But again, with a lot of hopes, I'm coming back, that we can leverage the power of these technologies. But the judgment call is at the end of the decision makers. I will strongly recommend the public-private partnerships. Government cannot alone everything themselves. So we need to have public-private partnerships between universities, technology centers, government organizations. The public money which is given through the government organizations should be spent in coordination with the private sector organizations. Only then we can leverage this power of a human resource and build them really a 21st century human resource for Pakistan.
Sultan, as you were already mentioning that we've got some instances in which the artificial intelligence deciding by itself, gaining more autonomy with the passage of time. There is an argument against this that comes from Mr. John Byers. He's the head of artificial intelligence, machine learning at British law firm from Osborne Clarke. Now, he says that it is only maths, a mere technological tool, although very capable, yet not of developing consciousness. What would you like to say about it, Dr. Sultan?
Whenever technology was invented, you cannot stop. And the problem over here is if it is an organic growth, it is regulated and all legal, moral issues are addressed. Yes, it serves humanity, and we have seen over a period of time technology has helped improve quality of our lives. But the main concerns, the report that you were referring and the article of Al Jazeera also that you were referring, these concerns are genuine because artificial intelligence is moving at a very, very rapid pace. The creators themselves don't understand. So once we talk about data, everything, we have to understand that all this data gathering from where this chat GPT and these things would work, this comes from the society. So are there any rules, regulations to for this? That's the concern. Even in the United States, the hearing that you were referring, they were raising these issues that we need to first address these issues and then move on. Nobody is saying that we should stop this. Artificial intelligence cannot be banned, like all technologies, as I said, but the pace can be regulated. Let me cite two of the examples on these issues. Once we talk about that it will improve the learning process, yes, definitely. But first we have to understand how this tool would be used in our learning processes. Already we have seen students globally, and I was listening to some of the experts in the UK also and the United States who develop these course modules for the students. They are facing the same kind of challenges as we are facing in Pakistan. So that's the beauty of globalization. The challenges are that students are already using it, but how to instill that responsibility amongst the students that you can use this technology to benefit, not to shortcut the system. What is happening is it has made the access so easy that students can just pick up the contents and put up in the assignments, and that's it. So how do you assess that? Then there are tools for the teachers also to verify whether this is AI generated or chat GPT generated assignments of that sort. Again, the challenges are that in the end, if it is...
Interjection over here. If the students are getting ease by using these tools, so what's the problem?
There's no problem. The whole idea or philosophy of teaching is how to improve the learning process. And you can incorporate any amount of technologies in the learning process. But we have to develop modalities.
When there would be artificial intelligence that might be deployed in every field, so what's the point of improving the learning among the human resource?
And learning, once we do, there's always more to learn. Learning has no limit. So artificial, like computer or the calculators came in, they made our lives easier, and the students then they started to move beyond basic calculation. Likewise, artificial intelligence, it can give you basic content these days about certain facts, but you have to verify. That's the danger. And the learning process that we need to evolve for the future generation of scholars or the students or the scientists or whatever, that they have to think beyond what is actually available easily. But what I'm trying to say is, we have not understood as such what the technology is going to play, how this technology is going to play its role in the future. So globally, the concern is about how it will affect learning process, whether it will adversely affect or positively affect. The second, quickly, the example I would say why it is raising more concerns, especially the military application. Traditionally, what we have seen, technologies generally are propagated that it has dividends, positive dividends. But the military applications or the negative use of those technologies, that is a major concern. So if there are no rules and laws or ethics, then it goes out of control. And that's the strong debate in one of the articles that you were referring. They were also talking about this: if nuclear command and control centers are made autonomous in decision making, and I don't want to go into further strategies, that's the biggest concern, because that can lead to extinction of the humanity, where computers would be deciding whether they want to kill millions or not. In nuclear deterrence, the human factor is very important, but some countries are debating this very seriously, especially the nuclear weapon states. So that's the kind of debate. Nobody is saying this technology is bad and we should stop. Nobody can stop it. It will grow. But they're just saying that we need to instill this sense of responsibility amongst the decision maker by regulating this technology and by understanding how it is going to work in next 5-10 years. It's been March when we started to hear about these ChatGPT different versions, and it is just 3-4 months. This debate has grown so intense globally about, I'm talking about in the learning process or the universities or in the teaching process. So it's just 3-4 months and it has brought in a kind of a revolution. So that's the pace that we have to deal with this. So I am not against this technology. We cannot stop this, but we need to regulate and understand how it is going to work for the future.
Right, Dr. Ayaz, you are also associated with an educational institution. You've definitely heard the first concern raised by Dr. Sultan. So do you agree with that? So my point is that if the students are getting ease in doing their assignments by using these tools, what's the problem?
If the students are trained to do the same thing which a computer system can already do for you, then why would anybody give them jobs? So the simple thing is that education has to transform, it has to upgrade. Knowing that students can use ChatGPT, we have to give them more innovative and creative assignments, right? So like there are several factors, like for example, the Pakistan Engineering Council and several other, and the Washington Accord, and you know the current system that is deployed around the world and now also in Pakistan involves things that are cognitive. In learning, they involve things that are psychomotor domain and other things which involve like innovative aspects, right? So we have to increase the creative oriented content and reduce the content which is just based upon survey, collecting information and producing reports, right? So there has to be more analysis and more logical output coming from each of the
why then remains to be the question of more logical output from a human brain, the function of which could be replaced by an artificial intelligence system. So why would humans be seeking jobs if there would be more robots in every field deployed?
Like, let me for example put it this way. Like for example, if there is an engineering assignment and we ask a student to design an aircraft which can fly faster than a Concorde, right? Or faster than the most efficient planes right now, right? So this is not something which ChatGPT is able to come up with.
It's not only one single robot, ChatGPT. There could be multiple other robots, more advanced forms of it. We have seen in the recent past Sophia also, right? That's another form of a robot. So, I mean, there could be a robot who could be doing some very advanced functions also. It could most probably be making aircraft by itself, a single robot.
That's a little far-fetched now, in my opinion. So the word robot, by the way, in the 1930s when it was coined for the first time by a Czech author, the word robot means menial labor, right? So everything which is the lowest part of the human jobs, the robot gradually starts to replace that. So why are robots cooking in our kitchens now? Because human beings are tired of going into the kitchen and doing the same thing over and over again. But for instance, a robot can know how to create a lasagna, it can know how to create a pizza, but the human that invented a pizza or the one who invented a lasagna, right, that still has to be a chef. Do we know of any robots that is inventing a new recipe? So like the creative part of the human brain is the one that we have to linger on more and more from now on.
So you mean to say the robots or the artificial intelligence can't be creative? There are certain examples which have been put forth in that very book that I already mentioned of Yuval Noah Harari, where it comes to playing chess. There was a system that was created that could beat humans in playing chess also. The chess being the very yardstick of measuring the human ingenuity and the genius, and that it could compose millions of tunes also, which could suit the human brain also.
So chess is a good example of adversarial systems. It's been taught in artificial intelligence for a long time. So the reason, like what happens in an adversarial system is that it is an AI algorithm, when it plans a move, it does not simply think of the next move or the one after that like a human usually does. It is capable of thinking till the end of the game. Actually, a good adversarial algorithm should do exactly that. It should compute all the computations for every single move. What would happen if it makes this move, and which one is the moves is increasing the chances of winning the game at the end of the game, given all the movements which the opponent can make. So you can create one computer of that computational complexity and use it for one chess game, but are we able to dedicate that many computer systems for every single task which every human is facing in every place in our lives right now? So maybe computer systems will evolve. AI, the way AI we know as of now, will change to a new form which is emerging as edge AI, right? Which is AI which works on little amount of data on smaller systems, right? Because if we really started employing AI in all of these fields, what about the heat that will be generated from all these data clusters? Maybe it will raise global warming or stuff like that. So this is why a lot of it is yet in speculation, right? AI could innovate, it could create, it could be, but humans, because of the nature of our brain, we'll always create better stuff, more complicated stuff compared to AI. One more thing which I think the viewers would really want to understand is that, most of our examples are coming from the US or Europe, etc. Does it hit closer to home? Like how AI is beneficial or, adversarial, or, is it harmful for our people? So with our national center, we've been developing several applications which are really helping the people of Pakistan as we speak. For example, so we have deployed AI-based safety systems, face recognition, vehicle system for finding lost vehicles, for example, in 2 cities, Lahore and Mardan, with the help of the safe city authorities in those cities. We received very good acknowledgement letters from them because, as confirmed by several of their people, there have been actual incidents where our systems have been able to apprehend people who were not otherwise caught. For example, you have policemen standing on pickets everywhere, even in Islamabad, right? But does a policeman remember every face of every single wanted person passing through there? Or for example, God forbid, if it's my car or your car that gets lost somewhere, won't we want an AI system to be able to find it for us? So the benefits of AI far outweigh, the kind of dangers that may happen or could happen. For instance, let's say if we wanted to put AI out today, how will we stop people from using Facebook or Google or Instagram? Because this is AI. AI, as we speak right now, the AI we use every day are these systems.
So they've also tried to make efforts in order to curtail all that flow of information that relates to politics also. So they've also made efforts. So we'll be talking about that, what sort of repercussions it might have on politics when the political environment happens to be highly charged. Now, Mr. Jaffri, the concern that has been raised by Dr. Sultan earlier in his discussion regarding the decision making when it comes to military strategies and when it comes to the use of nuclear weapons. So he's of the view that it poses a high risk. What's your understanding of it?
I think in military matters, there are always filters, chain of commands. So military systems always evolve or based on the same tradition system that one person has to take a decision. I'm sure that all the strategic or critical infrastructure which will be using AI for these decision makings will definitely have those filters into it. This is my first response to it. Second is that, as Dr. Yasar was explaining, that unless we do not think in terms of general benefits to a common man, I'm talking about my own country, I think we will not understand the benefits of AI. Why should we worry about the negativity of the AI? Let the people who are dealing with zettabytes of data and cross-border data transmissions in their payment system, definitely use case and case studies will come forward, and we will proactively adjust our systems accordingly. Right now, we should focus only on one thing, that is how AI algorithms. Recently Jack Ma said that now the people will have contact glasses. In the contact glasses, this will be a body implant. Now, for example, I'm just talking about examination system. I have a question. I'll just think about it, and the answer will start scrolling down before me. So we'll have to change a number of our processes. So as we go further, it is a judgment call for us that how we adopt these things into our institutions, into our cultures, and especially into our society. As I said, that technology for the society. Society is not for the technology. And I think we are moving toward the end of the program. I must congratulate PTV World for taking these types of discussions. Trust you me, I am fed up with all these traditional funny political discussion, giving no knowledge to anyone, rather creating confusion in the mind of the people. I'm really thankful to PTV, and as I come back, I'll talk to you guys that these are the requirements which should be taught. These should be, we can make it some interesting part. I know people will get bored if we'll always talk about chat GPT, AI. Maybe we find something so that sponsors can come into it. But these discussions, these academic discussions based on the emerging technology, which are fast emerging, like every rising sun is watching a new technology, we must arrange this program on an almost daily basis, and you should see it. Thank you.
Mr. Jaffri will definitely keep on taking such type of topics for the general awareness of the masses, and more of episodes on these particular topics will definitely come in future at PTV World also. So, Dr. Sultan, when you raised the concern regarding the military strategies and the use of nuclear weapons, as you already mentioned, that these artificial intelligence tools are becoming more autonomous, and they are also based on the principle of imitating what humans do. So could there be any possibility of inclusion of certain elements like of empathy, compassion while making decisions if such type of tools are deployed in the military domain?
Before I address this military, just on the lighter part to Dr. Yasar's question, remark about the chefs being used. In Dubai, there is already a restaurant where AI chef is serving pizzas, so it decides on its own and it makes certain combination, and that has become a buzzword. So chefs are being used in that. But that was on the lighter part. Coming to this more serious question,
the news anchors might also feel threatened. A couple of years before, we have seen a news anchor based on artificial intelligence system reading out news for an international news agency also. Please go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. These hazards are there. But more specifically onto the military side, I think we cannot say that some of the concerns are specific to the Western world. We live in a globalized world where these technologies, the debate that is going on in the West, that is very much relevant in our part of the world also. Specifically, if we talk about the military application, we are a nuclear weapon state. And why I mentioned this thing, because one of the articles that you referred, it did talk about the extinction of humanity. So once you talk about the use of nuclear weapon or decision-making processes, there is strong debate whether these command and control systems should be automated, given to the computers, AI-based things. The thing that you talked about, this missing element of compassion and empathy, where you are talking about killing millions of people, you cannot sublet it to the AI. But there are militaries who are working on systems which work on AI. There are already drones being operated, which it becomes difficult to distinguish between the civilian or a military target, a legitimate target. And we have seen their actual operation where the civilians were killed because these drones were left on their own for decision making, and they kill some of the innocent people also. So that's the kind of danger. So I'm again saying I'm not a technology pessimist. I'm an optimist, and we all should be. But the way we took lead at Geneva also, Pakistan as a country, as a state took lead about, because there are serious repercussions of its misuse, and that's the debate that we need to do to understand the legal, ethical issues, while continue to develop whatever we can as per our resources. But we need to develop better understanding that if we just go on a 100 meter sprint kind of race, that what we need to develop all these technologies, every technology has a negative side also. So we need to understand that also, including the
Dr.
learning
Sultan,
processes that we talk.
a quick last comment regarding when we talk about regulation in order to mitigate the adverse impacts of artificial intelligence, whom do you think should be primarily responsible for this? The companies, the corporate sector, or the government alone, or the states alone, or both in partnership?
That's another challenge because most of these technologies are being developed in the private sector. So the states, essentially, they have the responsibility to develop regulations. But there are no international global norms per se. Even in the instance of cyberspace, there's strong debate going at the UN, and on AI also there is a debate going on. First, there has to be some universal principles. Then states, as per their own security situation or requirement and technological expertise,
Right.
they must.
Right. Dr. Adil Sultan, your point is well taken. Dean, Head of the Department of Aerospace and Strategic Studies at University. Thank you very much for being with us on Views on News tonight. We really appreciate that. We were also joined by Mr. Ammar Jaffri, founder of Digital Pakistan, keynote speaker in the first Big Data International Conference in China, joining us on Skype from China. Thank you very much for being with us in studio. We were joined by Professor Dr. Yasar Ayaz, Chairman, National Center for Artificial Intelligence at NUST in Islamabad. Dr. Ayaz, thank you very much for being with us. With that, we come to the end of today's show. Till the next one, take good care of yourselves.